You mentioned that you've been working in the hospitality industry since you were 19.
Yes.
So I wonder, what is your experience from a professional standpoint?
The most positive thing of my job is the customer service. The only problem about this is knowing every place. You have, the space to talk with the customers and new other people and share your opinions. Why? Because sometimes you can find some situation where the manager or the maitre who just is the king about the restaurant and is the person in charge who can talk with the customers and if you are chef de rang or commis you have no space to put in evidence your personality.
Welcome to another episode of the Italian Wine Podcast, the Next Generation series, where we aim to answer one simple question: what are the new generations up to when it comes to wine and food? My name is Karla Ravagnolo. Join me as we dive into the latest trends in Italian wine. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Italian Wine Podcast. My name is Karla Ravagnolo. I'll be your host for this episode of the Next Generation series. Today, I'm very pleased to welcome Elisa Rezzano, a passionate certified sommelier who's collected multiple experiences around the globe and is now based in Switzerland. Welcome, Elisa. How's it going?
Thank you to having me here today. All good. There is the sun today, so is everything fine?
Oh, that's nice. So tell us, what do you do in Switzerland? How did you end up in Switzerland? Tell us, we want to know more about you.
So, I'm an hospitality professional, as you say. And yes, I'm trying to work at the moment in hospitality here. Not very easy in Switzerland, but I'm trying. Why Switzerland? Because I'm here with my boyfriend who received just a big opportunity of job. He works in the kitchens. So, yeah, we just decided to move here for we don't know a long time.
Got it. But as I mentioned, you are also a certified sommelier. So, of course, my question for you is, why wine? When did you start getting passionate about wine? And when did you enter this whole industry of wine and hospitality?
I started when I was 19 because of my father, because he's an important sommelier in Italy. He's the president of the Italian Sommelier Association in Liguria, so in my region in Italy. So he just give me his passion. So he just transmit me his passion. So when I was 16, I started my ice sommelier course and I finished when I was 19. When I finished, I opened a restaurant with him and I just started my career.
Got it. Got it. Interesting. So I don't know if this is somewhat of uncomfortable question, but as you mentioned, your father is the president of the Italian Sommelier Association in Liguria, so northern
Yes.
Italy, for those who may not be familiar with the Liguria, because it's such an under the radar region for some reason. Not everybody's aware of like Liguria, the great wines they have, where it is located, etc., etc. But how does this make you feel, like to be the daughter of such a big personality and institutional personality in the hospitality and wine industry?
I think in the first period, so in the first years of my career, I was feeling maybe a little under pressure, but not from him, from the other people, because of course he's an important person and many, many sommeliers. So the expectation from them were very high. But after I took my way, so I moved then in London, in other parts of Italy, then in Australia, I'm feeling more sure about myself. So, yes, I think at the moment I don't feel any pressure from him. Also, because we do two different things. He made the career inside ICE, then he has his activity, and I'm around the world. So, I think there is space for everyone, no?
Oh, 100%. And also, a confident woman. We like confidence. So, I guess one of the questions that you maybe have asked yourself, and I wonder about now, is, does your idea of hospitality and wine differ from the one of your father? Or, like, as a Gen Z, what is your definition and what is your idea of hospitality?
If I have to compare the two ideas between my father, he grown up in a different ages. In a professionally way. So we are talking about the 80s. And the hospitality there was very different. So the customer was always right. Now it's not like that. Because, yes, the people who work in hospitality just took more, I would say consideration, but I don't know if it's the right word, consideration of themselves. So it's become a proper job. Before was a bit different.
Got it. But now, for example, if you like you are a customer in this scenario, you are a customer, you are a client, and you go to a restaurant. How would you like to be served in a way or pampered? Like, what is your idea of?
If I'm a customer,
Yes.
I'm sure the people I have in front of is professional and prepared, and he has some studies. Before was not like that.
Mm. So you mentioned that you've been working in the hospitality industry since you were 19.
Yes.
So I wonder, what is your experience from a professional standpoint? Meaning, what are the positive things you've experienced, and what do you consider to be the challenges and limitations of the case?
The most positive thing of my job is the customer service. So the contact with the other people, and because you can exchange your opinion and your knowledge with other people that you don't know. The only problem about this is knowing every place. You have, I mean, the space to talk with the customers and new other people and share your opinions. Why? Because sometimes or very often I would say you can find some situation where the restaurant is divided like in caste. I don't know if is an English terms.
Mm.
I would say case like in India.
Oh, okay.
Yes, so there is the manager or the maitre who just is the king about the restaurant, and yeah, is the person in charge who can talk with the customers. And if you are chef de rang or commis, you have no space. I mean, so yes, I think this is one of the bad point about the hospitality. So you have, I mean, no space to put in evidence your personality.
Do you think that the fact that people cannot express themselves kind of influences the perception of wine, for example? Like, if you have somebody that kind of feels almost robotic, you may feel a little, I don't want to say discouraged, but it makes you feel like you don't actually belong, maybe in that scenario, in that scene, in that, you are not part of the community. Because it's one thing if somebody, with a smile tells you and makes also sometimes easier associations in order to explain you the wine and stuff.
Yes.
But if you lack the freedom of expression, everything feels a little more stiff. That, I think, is the word.
Yes, because for me, this job is all about the customer service, and some people have not cleared this point. So they put a lot of rules inside the restaurant. So the person that at least who goes at the table, also to leave a plate, could be also a commis. If you put stress in that person, then, in front of the customer is not very nice. I think the customer can feel the pressure that there is inside the restaurant.
Even like I do recognize that that was a very nice, restaurant. The service was
Yeah.
impeccable. I do
Yes.
recognize obviously the professionalism behind it and the knowledge and the study and
Yes.
everything. However, would I say that it was a relaxed dinner that I felt welcome? I don't know. You know what I mean?
I understand your point of view because, of course, I go also out for dinner in many different restaurants, in different type of restaurant as well, and sometimes I feel the same. I feel the same. So when, yeah, unfortunately, it's very common.
Mm-mm,
It's very common, especially in night target level of restaurant. Yes.
mm-mm. Yes, 100%. Talking about high level of the restaurants, talking about fine dining, since you are my first woman, you're the first woman that I'm interviewing, wonder how is
Yes.
the experience of a woman in hospitality and fine dining? Because I'm more used to seeing men when it comes to fine dining. and like, like, oh, this restaurant has been awarded, and is usually a man. In most cases it's a man.
But you mean on the floor, so in the front of house?
Yes. So I wonder, like, how is your experience?
How's my experience? You're right. You're right, because I think we are in 2025 and there are not enough girls in the restaurants as a professional. In the front of house, so in the floors, but in the kitchen, so in the back of house, is much worse. So it's very uncommon to see a girl in the kitchen. And honestly, I honestly hope this situation it will change. It's gonna change, just because when I had the opportunity to work with girls, it was much better the situation, because we like to have everything under control and we give attention to the details.
Mhm.
And it sounds, a weird thing, but the details are everything in this job.
May I ask you, what do you think could be the reason why this is the situation? Like, do you think there is any specific reason why men usually tend to be more present in the industry instead of
In the kitchens, and in the kitchens for sure, I'm sure, because the job is very hard. So for example, the pan are very heavy, and you have to do a lot of hours, so I'm pretty sure it's for this in the kitchens. And on the floor, I see some girls working as a waiters, but almost never as a sommelier. Is hard. Maybe is the wine world, which is, I mean, apparently for the society, is more for the boys, but it's not true. I don't know, for the wine could be for the society, I don't know.
That's a very hard question. I feel like
Yes,
we're
yes.
gonna find the answer maybe in a few years. Who knows?
Anyway, it's totally true. It's totally true. There are more boys than girls. Yeah, I mean, in the hospitality, because then if you see all the job or what there is around the wine, there are many, many girls doing this job in the wineries, for example, or, as a teacher, or, yeah.
Mm-mm-mm. No, I can definitely see a lot more women compared to the past. However, the majority or the feeling is still that the voices of the men are heard a little more.
Yeah, then the weird thing about this situation, now that you tell me, is all the time I start to work in a new place as a sommelier, all the guys or the boys are very surprised because I'm a girl, and they tell me it's better if you are a girl, because you are much better than us, because you feel better the smells in the wine, and you are better. And I'm like, okay. So it's weird.
It is. And it's actually interesting because also in my idea, and I obviously, everybody's different, et cetera, et cetera. But if I have to think about somebody who's a little more, I don't want to say charismatic, but, women kind of have that feeling of like being able to understand, who have a better sensibility or sensitivity to the person that usually stands in front of them. So, like, if I had to pick somebody who has to pamper my customer and make them feel welcome and be able to sell the one and everything, I personally would get a woman. Like,
Yes,
we
yes.
just have that little thing, that
Also
little
because
sense.
for example, if I have to sell you one wine, I'm a girl, and I think is about connection, maybe, so I can understand more your point of view, because we are two women. So
Mm-mm.
yeah,
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 100%, 100%.
I understand what you want to say, and yes, you're right. But at this point, I can't explain why there are no girls in hospitality.
We'll figure. We'll change this and we'll figure.
Yeah, yeah. I hope it's going to change. Yes.
As we mentioned, we want to change this, but I'm also kind of sad to know that you are also considering changing your career path. Ask you why and what are you considering? Like, what do you want to do?
Why? Why? Because I always made hospitality in my life. So it's almost an year I do it. So I'm considering to see something different. What you will say? What you like to do? I will try to become a flight attendant. So I'm already flight attendant. I made the CCA, so I have the certificate. But to start is another history because it's very, very hard. So, yes, because you have to do a lot of tests. And so I'm flight attendant, but I would say I'm an aspirant flight attendant because at the moment, I didn't start. So at the moment, I'm just checking what I can do at the same time I wait. Why you saw this profession? You would ask me.
I love that you're asking
Because
questions.
yeah, yes, because I really like to travel. So traveling is my first passion, and yes, it started also before the wine. So yes, I just decided to try it maybe for a couple of years to do something else, but I don't wanna stop, of course, totally with the wine. Then also because if you don't do hospitality, doesn't mean you stop with everything. Then I'm very inside of this world because of my father. We have also a restaurant together, so yeah.
Mm-mm.
I think I will spend my holidays working in my restaurant, but it's fine. This is another history.
It's But if we consider your career journey in a way, when you will become a flight attendant, because of course I want your dreams to come true, I can see that there's still the customer service fil rouge.
Yes, sure, 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 sure.
What is it about the customer service that makes you so passionate? Like, what do you like about it?
As I tried to mention before, is for sure the contact with people that you don't know. So try to help them, sharing your point of view, your knowledge, and everything. Then I think, I guess, in airplane it will be a bit different because we are not talking about all the time. I mean, about food and everything. I think most of the time you talk about the security there. But, the thing that I really like is to talk with other people, that like we are doing now. I think I'm not a good person, I mean, to stay behind the computer.
I totally understand.
Yeah.
I wonder, since you've traveled, and as I mentioned at the beginning of this interview, you have collected multiple experiences internationally. Where have you been, first of all? What was your experience? And do you have any fun stories, maybe about this customer service thing or a special connection you made or something?
After a couple of years, I was working in my restaurant, as I told you. I just decided to take my way. So I moved to London. And yeah, there I worked as a sommelier for 3 years. Then there were all the problems with the COVID. So I came back in Italy. And yeah, I was spending a couple of years again in my restaurant. Then I moved to other region in Italy. So I moved in Veneto. I spent like a couple of years there, and then in Australia. Yeah.
Where in Veneto, just out of curiosity?
I was living in Castelfranco, Veneto.
No way. I'm from
Yeah.
Bassano. That's like
No way! Amazing. I love Bassano.
really.
It's like one of my favorite places there.
Oh,
Yeah.
girl. Okay, when you come back to Italy, you're coming to me.
Of course, I will. I will. I will. Anyway, Veneto is an amazing region for the wine and everything. So I learned a lot of things. So then I was very close to some most important wine areas. So it was very happy. It was a very happy time there. And after that, I changed again my mind and I went to Australia for a year. So I spent a year in Sydney working as a restaurant manager. And then, because the level of hospitality there was no amazing, I just decided to move back in Europe, and now here I am. About some funny concept. You have time,
Yeah,
yes?
yeah,
No, I'm
yeah.
joking.
We want to know everything. Open your book of stories and tell us. We want the tea.
No, because I don't want to talk behind the people. So I think I can tell you like one or two episodes
Hmm.
maximum. For example, in Australia, as I try to mention, the level of hospitality is not big thing. So I remember I had a colleague there. I can't tell you the name. She was around 60 and she had a lot of master in wine marketing. So she was very inside of this world. And one day we were talking about orange wines and she was totally lost. And she told me, orange wine. What are you talking about?
Ooh.
And I was like, what? And I start to laugh, of course. I start to laugh because she were very sad. And she spent also time in Italy, actually, I think.
Oh,
But yeah, but she was completely, yeah,
lost.
outside of, yeah, lost. Yes. It's funny from my point of view because I'm inside the world, but probably the people who are listening this podcast, I don't know if they are laughing or not, just because it's not. Yeah,
Mm-mm-mm.
it's a big thing. I think because for one person, because she wasn't from my same. I'm 28. She wasn't from my same age. She had like a life behind her. So inside, I mean, working in this world, and
Mm-mm-mm-mm. Yeah.
yeah, it's funny but a bit sad also.
Can I ask you, how do wine approach changes between, London, Australia, Europe? What is the feeling? How do people feel about wine?
Okay, I think in Europe in general, the customers are more interested about what they drink, about the things, but they have more knowledge as well. For example, in Australia was like a big word. I take this bottle. Why you take that bottle? You like the wine, you know the wine, because I know it's good. Ah, okay.
Nice.
Yes. And I think here in Europe is a bit easier to have a conversation about the wines with the customers. Also, then it depends where you sell wines. So in London, for example, I saw the customers were not without knowledge because, as I remember, I made good conversations about wines with the customers, but they were choosing the labels, so the bottle to take, for example, for a dinner, in base to the trend of the moment. So I remember in that moment were very popular drink Bordeaux and Burgundy, and everyone, not everyone, but like the 80% of the people were choosing that bottles.
Interesting. I wonder, how did they learn about the trends, or how did they know? Like, I don't know. I wonder where actually people who are not into the wine industry get information about wine. Do you know what I mean? Like, if it's because they see it on social media, is it because they just see it in the bars and that's what they
Could be,
go?
could be. I don't know then if we can talk about the way of marketing that there is in France.
Mhm.
Yeah, because it could be also this reason. I mean, they are very clear in the marketing strategies, and maybe because when there are this situation, is always with the wines from France. Not never, but almost never with the Italian wines. So I think is the marketing the difference.
One other question that I have for you is, you studied wine through the ICE courses, so Italian
Mhm.
Association of Sommelier,
Yes.
but in your experiences abroad, wine professionals tend to attend WSET. So I want to ask you, how do you think these two courses and approaches differ, and if they influence the individual experience people have with wine?
First of all, I finished the ICE course, so I'm sommelier. I made the exam and everything. And about the WCT, I made only the level two. So I can give you my opinion, but I don't know if we can compare the two things. I think if you do the ICE course, is because you really love wine, so you are very passionate about this word, and maybe you want to do it as a job, yes, but also no. I mean, then maybe the things are changed because I finished my course in 2016. So, yes, we have almost 10 years, and as I know, some things are changed. So, you can take my opinions, but, very far. So yes, they give you a lot of informations, and they properly teach you how to taste the wine, yes, but also to understand every point of view that you have inside your glass. WSET, I think, is very focused. Just if you want, not just, but if you want to work inside this industry, and if you want to sell, they teach you properly to be a good seller, I think.
Mm.
Yeah, because they give you the key informations. Everything is very clear, very schematic. So I loved my time when I studied in the WCT. But yes, the difference is everything very schematic, and this is the main difference.
Got it. So you think the ice course maybe is a little more Italian in a way, meaning that, we are somewhat of poets and we love to like
Yes,
describe your
yes,
image.
hundred
It's all about
percent,
the
100%.
feelings, etc., etc. Instead, WSET maybe is a little more
Yes,
schematic, as you mentioned, pragmatic, but it gives you the tool to better communicate maybe wine when it comes to international audit. If you study
it's
with WSET, you are sure that people will understand what you mean when you use a
Yes,
word.
yes, exactly, exactly. Completely I agree with this. For example, one time I was working in London, and in that moment, I had only the sommelier course in Italy, so the ice. And I was talking with my head sommelier, and we were discussing about a wine, and he asked me to make a degustation about one wine. And I start to talk, and he told me, "You are ice. I can see." You have to get out from this world and try to think like the other people.
Got it. That could be challenging also, because for us it's all about it's a way of living, it's a way of communicating. So it
Yeah,
can be
yeah.
challenging. Interesting.
Yes, the thing they are trying is just to find a way to communicate about the wine with people that don't know about wines.
Mm-mm.
And for that is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they teach you all the names that you should use also in another language. So for that, WCT is
Mm-mm.
top.
I think
Yeah.
that also, as you mentioned, WSET, since it's so schematic, can also be a good approach to people who are novice about wine, like somebody who doesn't know anything. And it's just easier, it's just like one, two, three, four. It's just like given information and that's it. You
Yes.
just have to learn it and then you can actually communicate with others, which is, I think it's great. Because a lot of people
Yes.
are just scared about the terminology of wine, With other guests in this podcast, we've
Yes.
discussed how people are actually scared to share their honest opinion or share their thoughts. Because, like, everybody, when it comes to tasting wine, everybody's like, oh, I smelled this, and that. I smelled that and that. Oh, this wine is good. And this reminds me of this. Oh, this Cabernet Sauvignon. And somebody who's new is never going to tell you, like, oh, I smell this. So there's always
Yes.
a little bit of pressure and fear when it comes to
Yes.
exposure.
But why? I would say why, because we don't kill no one. So
I think, in my opinion, if the wine is good. Like that's the most important thing. Sometimes I do small tastings with my parents, like at home, and I can like I'm their daughter, and they are scared. They're just like, I don't know what I'm smelling right now. It's just like, just say it. No, as you mentioned, we never killed anybody, and I think it's somewhat highly subjective what you smell in a glass, because also it really depends on our experience. I may have never smelled some fruit, and maybe you get that fruit in the glass, like it's very subjective, like a common basis that WCT is trying to build, of course, and to structure.
Mhm.
But there is also, the little more subjective and emotional side to it. So, coming to the final part of this interview, I have three questions for you that are my ritual questions now. What do you think is the biggest misconception the wine and hospitality industry have about young people?
So I think one of the biggest misconception from hospitality industry is that the young people have not the attitude to work in this sector. I think is completely wrong, and in this case, I just stay in the part of the young people because I'm still young. And when I had the occasion to work with the people even younger than me, everything was very fine. I mean, I think if you start this job is because you have a little passion, of course, and then there are the people who are better and the people who are worse, but you know, it's not about the attitude. It's not about the attitude. I think everyone has the attitude to make this job, and it's not true that the young people don't want to make a career because they have no time, because maybe for their education. Completely wrong. I saw many, many young people very interested in this sector and in this job.
Mm-mm.
Yes.
I think that maybe, correct me if I'm wrong, because obviously I'm not a hospitality professional, but maybe it also connects to the theme that you've touched on earlier. That is the idea of hospitality of your dad or grandfather or whoever is different
Mm-mm.
from the one that
Yes.
young people have. So that obviously, can create some friction.
Could be, but I told you, I'm in the young
Yeah,
part, so my point of view is completely different from the point of view of my father or his colleagues, and we could work together. And I mean, the most important thing is to be smart and share your opinions with educations, and I mean, if the other person is smart as well, you can, find the solution.
100%.
Yes. So you have to be, more open, I think, from one point of view, but also from the other.
Yeah. So my other question is, what is the biggest misconception young people have about wine and hospitality?
So about wine, they think that this word is too boring. Not true. Now I make you one question. Do you like mathematicians?
Oh.
Do you like mathematics? No.
Mm,
Why you don't like mathematics?
I'm not good at math.
Because I think is not your subject. Maybe you're not interested in. So it's not that the wine word is boring. Maybe the people are talking are not interested in this word,
Mm,
because there is nothing boring. Of course, it's hard, but you want to become a mathematician, and it's hard too, I think. You want to become I don't know, architect, is hard too. And I'm pretty sure at the beginning is boring. I'm pretty sure. But if you are really interested in that subject, you're very focused, and you can make the things happen. And at least at the end, you have the work that you like. So you can't tell me the wine word is boring. Of course, sometimes you can read an article and can be difficult, of course, but if you are interested in, make a sommelier course first, try to study something,
mm,
and then maybe the article or the interview become less boring.
mm, mm, mm. No, it definitely need a little bit of effort at the beginning, at least to understand a few keywords or a few concepts. Yeah, that there's no other way to do it.
That's the thing. So I would say to the young people who say one word is boring, no, you're not interested in.
True. As simple as that.
Yeah.
So, wrapping up this interview, one final question for Elisa. That is, you live abroad. You've lived abroad for a while and you are abroad now. So, I guess you may have some moments where you miss home, your beautiful Liguria. In those moments, what is the wine and food pairing? Your go to wine and food pairing in order to feel, home?
Maybe is one pairing which is very easy, very classic. I don't know. Tell me you're boring. In this case, you can tell me I'm boring. But it's the trophy al pesto with the pigato. So pigato is a grape variety from Ponente area in Liguria, and it goes very well with the pesto, which is another pragmatic sauce that we put in the pasta.
My mouth is watery
Yeah.
already.
Ah, it's amazing.
Well, thank you so much, Elisa. I had so much fun during this interview. So I really hope to meet you in person.
Yeah, I hope to. When I will come to Bassano del Grappa, I will call you for
Yes,
sure.
100%. 100%. So, yes, good luck with your career. Hope you become a flight attendant soon. Hope you have the best wines. And that's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Ciao.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Let us know your thoughts on our social media at Italian Wine Podcast and follow us to keep up with the next generation of Italian wine people. Cheers!